Hey, if you're like me, you are looking for a tool that can generate content for music videos as an artist who might not know a whole lot about image design, video processing, etc. Let me get right into it. So I had seen that the Midjourney video model came out recently, and I was super excited to try this out. Um, but I ran into a small amount of problems, would be calling it lightly. And, this has been a pretty significant disappointment for me. So I just wanted to make a video and chat about the problems that I've had with it and maybe give some other folks some insight into how well it works without coughing up for the subscription, which can be a little expensive. So Midjourney, if you're not familiar, one of many short-form AI content generators that can either generate images or videos. And for me, this was really inspiring because it just immaculate quality with a lot of these, as you can see. Um, and so I was really excited to use some of this for my own content. The page is a little buggy. You'll see it kind of crash and reload every once in a while. But, I mean, it's just really cool stuff. So, for me, my name's Mosswatcher. I try to have like a nature-y theme with some of my content. So obviously I was looking for, something that I thought was going to be relatively simple. I want a video that's going to pan up to reveal a bird sitting on a tree. That doesn't sound that hard. But it turns out that that can actually be immensely difficult to get specific, like the specifics of what you're after from Midjourney, and I'm going to try to go into some examples and frustrations that show what I mean. Let me start off, I guess, with a few things that worked well. So this, I think, is a really nice kind of passive animation. You could maybe get away, I think, with this in some music videos, maybe just looping something similar. You can loop something like this, I think, pretty easily. There's some of these which look nice in and of themselves. It's not terrible animation, and I think it can really get most of what you want accomplished in terms of one short video. But this is really where it struggles, is connecting videos to other videos or extending videos or adding specifics of what you want to a future point in the video. So, again, I wanted to have, like, this bird. This is an image I've been trying to get to work for days. Almost a week, I think. And all I want is for the video to start at the bottom of the forest and then rise up gradually and then look at this bird sitting in this tree. That's all I want. It's all I've wanted. And it is this goal that has been denied to me so many times. So, for one, to edit some of these, the way it works is you need to start with one particular image. So I have this image, let me see where it is, here. So this is the one that I've been basing it off. Now when you try to animate this, you can only start it from a particular frame. And you have to have a starting frame in there. So I can't just move this frame to the ending frame and then say, move the camera slowly up to the ending frame, because it just won't work. You can't have something with an ending frame. So what this means is any time where you're trying to end a video on a specific frame, you also have to accompany it with a starting frame. Now you might think, well, okay, that's not too bad. I'll just generate a similar starting frame and then include that. Well, that doesn't really work that great. So let me find that example. So here's where I had this image right here, and I was trying to use this, again, as the bottom of the forest floor, and then gradually rise up to my red bird here. But you can see that that's not what happens in the video. Instead, it kind of just zooms in and draws some branches randomly in the video, and this happens ad nauseum into some of your content. Sometimes it might be relatively fluid, but the motion simply will never be as accurate as just telling it to go up or down. To highlight the problem with camera movements going up and down, I have a whole bunch of other examples of just trying to get the camera to go up. So I rendered a bunch of forest floor images until I found one I wanted, and now I'm going to try and make it go up. But it doesn't go up, it just starts zooming in. No matter how I word this, shot rises up vertically, keeping its view straight and horizontal, it just always zooms in. It's like tilting the camera instead of, I think the term is pedestaling the camera upwards. I'm still getting used to some of these terms as well, but needless to say, nothing that I inputted worked. It just won't go up. And this is also documented in this documentation for Midjourney, which basically just says it won't work. If you're trying to get a very specific sort of image movement, video movement, it just won't be reliable. So right here, do I need to use camera terms? This is referring to like camera movement, pan, tilt, zoom, etc. They say sure, but it doesn't always work. And this was so frustrating to read, but here's a table of all the terms they provide, but none of this will actually reliably work for you. So as simple as just having a camera move gradually up, just to look at a bird, I cannot for the life of me figure out how to do it with this specific bird. Now, there are ways that you can get something like that to work. Like here's an example where the animation's really weird. You can see the AI is hallucinating here, which is another problem in and of itself. But I mean, the drawing looks really great. That's an aside. You can see that it's slowly going up. So what I've read is that when Midjourney generates something, it is going to assume a set of movement based off of what it was trained on. So for example, for all of these images, you can see with this sort of more silhouette sort of imagery, Midjourney just thinks it's movement. Even these base images here, which have no animation whatsoever, it just considers this to be movement. So for example, it just thinks because of the way it rendered this should be moving. So if I say, you know, animate manually here, and I'm just going to say, the camera rises slowly upwards, keeping its distance from the trees, it's not going to listen to me. And so let me show you what happens. All right, so here it's loaded, and you can see none of these are doing what I want it to do. It's not rising slowly upward, it just always moves. And so this, take my word for it, is what happens with every single video you try. If Midjourney thinks the video should move, if it thinks the image is something that should move, there's nothing you can do to tell it otherwise. It just won't listen to camera movement. So it's a huge bummer. The other thing I want to show that is pretty disappointing is they have a feature called Omnireference, which allows you to specify a particular character to appear in your images. And this actually works pretty well for, again, some specific use cases. So say, draw this red bird in a open grassy meadow. All right, so cool, that finished. So it's pretty good, honestly. It can take that same character and reuse it for images. And this is where it becomes very frustrating, is that you can't say, here's a video, now I want to extend this manually and add my Omnireference. It doesn't support that. You're not able to add an Omnireference into your videos. So you can't just say, after this pans upward, go ahead and draw my bird, or the bird that you're trying to after, or whatever specific character you want. It just can't support that. The other problem with Omnireference is that Omnireference only supports one particular reference. There are ways to get around that. You can have like one picture with multiple characters and then stick that in there, but like I've read that it doesn't work super well all the time, and then sometimes it starts merging parts of both characters into each other, so it's not really very reliable. So that's really my biggest pain points with it, is that the camera movement just doesn't seem to be very reliable. It's really difficult to use. It's impossible to use omnireferences in videos to certain extents. You can't just add a specific character into a scene at a later point in time. That, I think, wraps it up for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If this was useful to you, give me a like. I have like no subscribers, so that'd be super helpful. See you later.